Video 97, The Far Past Lives of Prince William of England, as explained by the ancient spirit tralaka flowing here in spirit through the vocal cords. This live stream of the spirit being, that is, Prince William, had 3 lives in the Draco system of planets. Now, this was not during the Draco Empire War or following wars, but much later. He was 9 feet tall, reptilian humanoid in the first life in the Draco system, with deep, deep blue eyes that seemed to pulse with energy. This was a life of over 14,000 years in Earth count. He was a very calm being, not quick to anger or to take to challenge others, as some of the others in his village very much enjoyed doing. He was a very dedicated, mature pilot for taking injured to off-world hospitals and as well as hospital ships off-world, which were very much more supplied than the small hospital clinics in his surrounding areas that kept getting raided. But he was known for his reputation in that life, for his brilliance in knowledge, having been to over 5 very highly credited off-world schools with classes that on the average lasted over 100 years per school. Wow, that's a lot of studying. He piloted large, though for his area, battleships against a species of greys. These greys were on a cleansing war of anything that is not looking like exactly they do, which is, well, ended up spilling onto the planet. He and many of the small villages of reptilian humanoids lived, which would, before the war was over, greatly ravage his planet with explosions over a great part of its surface. This, in his last 1/3 of that life, would be spent using his knowledge to teach others how to rebuild their planet, restore its nature to its health. Now, in his next life, in the Draco system of planets, he was a Draco dragon, though humanoid, 9 feet tall. His dragon characteristics were easily seen. The proud, well-built body with rippling dragon muscles flowing under his skin, which was a mid-tone brown. His face with the 10-inch jawline in front of his face with 2 rows of closely rowed teeth within. The front row pointed, the back row flat but thicker. Many times when he was doing business with new beings, they mistaken his natural smile for that of being mad at them or possibly going to eat them. Now, in that life, he spent much time as a farmer, interesting here, producing in his fields very high-quality, spicy fruits for customers to use for flavoring their physical foods, and also food buttons and food cubes that many long-range ship crews used for eating because of the limited space to store natural foods. Now, this occupation is a very dangerously competitive market in many known sections of the living universe. Understand this. Because of the different types of soils and waters and elements, minerals on the different planets and moons which are able to grow things, as well as the fabricated artificial, though yet, soils on orbiting platform cities, micro-tuned to provide yet other adaptations for crops to grow in. However, there's long-time arguments that beings that are growing things on a planet's surface are much superior in their growing ability than those on platform cities orbiting around the planet. So the competition is competition. Now, in his last life in the Draco system, he was a human humanoid. This being not in a normal form of a species during those times to be that far in the Draco systems during those times because of a much yet harshness towards human humanoids. It was his well-groomed knowledge, being a masterly electrician who repaired very large power plants with a large crew of a mixed variations of humanoids. Though he was a full 9 feet 3 inches, he did not have that excess of muscles many of his fellow workers did. He, though, was very, very quick on his feet when needed. His lighter tones of skin with hair down past his waist when he wasn't working, that was a very light brown, drew very much attention when he was traveling alone or on a vacation. He then spent 4 lifetimes in the Lyra system of planets, 2 lives as the human reptilian, as a healer. Interesting combination here. At 8 feet tall, he traveled across, and on here, what is being meant is he used small vehicles to travel across the surfaces of worlds that were inhabited, and he would teach the aspects of healing by means of herbs, spices, minerals, and crystals, preferring, though, the smaller settings of beings where he would teach. But it was his passion, here speaking Prince William, for being a very complete as he could, so others then would be able to heal others through understanding the herbs, spices, minerals, crystals, all these different combinations, and then as a result then train others in the same manner as they had been trained. In the other 2 lives in the Lyran system of planets, not much is known about him at this time, other than he was a human humanoid, 8 foot 1 inches tall. Generally, though he knew nearly 15 complete off-world species languages that were not native to the Lyran system in the business trades. Very unusual here for his understanding those 15 completely off-world species languages. But he worked in the communications in the public sector with a hobby of rebuilding old technology vehicles from other worlds that he kept in this very interestingly designed, clear crystal formed shed on his property as a means as a private museum. Pretty intelligent. To cover the cost of rebuilding other vehicles, he charged a mid-range credit price for admission. He spent 5 lives in the Vega systems of planets, 3 as a human humanoid, being 9 feet tall with the very cool, soft blue eyes. Compared to other far past lives, in this life he was rather skinny, though healthy, though having some of that Draco humanoid flowing in his DNA, though it wasn't physically noticeable unless you watched at the speeds he could figure formulas and do math. He spent this life in applied higher science mechanical engineering, which provided him many options in his field. He desired very much to go off-world to really isolated locations and apply this knowledge. However, because of his understanding, it kept him planet-side teaching in very large crystal pyramidal domed colleges. In the other 2 lives in the Vega system of planets, he was a 9 foot reptilian humanoid with not much patience. Once again, a 9-foot reptilian humanoid in the Vega system with no patience, hardly any patience whatsoever, with an 8-inch tall spiked ridge of oily black hair standing straight up between his ears, which were at the top sides of his head. The ridge of that spiked hair then went down to his broad shoulders, also spiked very definitively in a do not disturb manner. He was always behind in repair on the control ships he worked while they were en route to different destinations, here being a more of a longer range cargo ships. He always thought that beings should be more careful when using the equipment, which always ended up with grinding his nerves into ready to wreak some revenge. But then he could never end up eating his food properly and would end up burning his cubes or his natural food so often because there would be these distress calls. Always seemed to happen when he was just sitting down to eat. Need to fix this, need to fix that, this broke, that broke. While he was trying to enjoy his lavish 5 meals a day. Wow, hungry, hungry, hungry. Eating when he could with his very secretive supply of energy hype food cubes. So, as always, my friends, grow to stretch your minds to embrace the larger aspects of the living universe and what it has to teach, as well as the incredible numbers of different variations of species to understand. So, this will also help you to understand your pathways and your life stream. Good night.